Hey Brick fans, and welcome back to the Brick Bakery, where all our jokes are half baked. I'm Jacob, and today it's time for Let's Build. Today we are having a look at the 6835 Saucer Scout, which is set from 1994 and consists of 41 parts and one minifig. The 6835 Saucer Scout is part of the Spyrius theme that ran from 1994 to 1996. It featured a group of spies that frequently stole technology from other space factions. But without further ado, let's have a look at this little build. The manual for this one is actually kind of special because it features a very large picture up on top. What's weird about that is that it takes up more space than can be folded in any way, so you'll never be able to see the entire picture when it's folded up. And that's something I've rarely seen. If I've ever seen it before, I'm actually not sure about that. But we've got a very nice diorama here. I don't know if this is actually real rocks that's been painted, but it does look good, and I like this background up here. That looks very nice indeed. But other than that, just very standard little manual here with something on both sides. Here you see the result of a brick being exposed to the sunlight for an extended period of time. Now you'll see this one has yellowed quite a bit. Now there are ways to make it less discolored, but I haven't managed to get this one done. But this is why you shouldn't leave your Lego out in the sun. If you look up the Spyrius faction on Wikipedia, you'll find that the Spyrius faction inhabits a planet called Spyrius that is on the outer rims of the galaxy. And when they'd stolen some of the technology from other factions, they would retire to their own planet and guard the technology with huge robots. I've actually reviewed one of those robots earlier here on my channel. You can check that out if you want to. These jet engines here are some really classic pieces. I remember having seen these in so many different sets over the years, usually planes of course, but in this case it's this UFO-like little spaceship here. These are great, and yeah, actually one of them was missing from this set when I was piecing it back together, but I've managed to find a new one. I actually managed to find several new ones, so one of these are a replacement. Here's the finished 6835 Saucer Scout. And the first thing that I notice is the color scheme. I really like how red and black and that transparent dark blue go together. It's really neatly done. And the design is actually kind of brilliant. Making this a mirrored design on two axes is a great idea. I think it works really well. I'm pretty sure that we would have called this one a UFO as children, and when looking at it now I understand why. This is very much akin to some of the stereotypical UFOs you see in movies and such. It's also called a Saucer Scout, which sort of underlines that point. As it is a small build, there isn't too much to be said about it, but there is a couple of things I think it's worth focusing on. First of all, there is that neat printed piece, which looks like some kind of targeting system or something like that. I like this print because it is a bit ambiguous about what it is. And that means that this printed piece has several uses. It could be a targeting computer for combat, but I'm pretty sure this is actually some kind of radar to discover technology, as the Spyrius faction is all about stealing technology. Another thing that's worth focusing on is this canopy right here, which can of course open and close to let the astronaut in and out. The canopy is a classic design that's been used in several space themes, among others the M-tron and Blacktron, but it was neon green in those, whereas it is dark blue right here. And this dark blue color really gives the Spyrius faction what I think is a haunting look. The inside is a little bare bones. There's just this chair right here, which is long enough for the astronaut to sit in. But other than that, it's very, very barren, and it's maybe a little hard to figure out how the astronaut is actually supposed to control this vehicle. Luckily, there's plenty of unused studs in here, so you can do plenty of modifications if you want, maybe particularly focusing on something that could actually help the astronaut steer this little saucer. And lastly, there's of course this little tool up here. I don't know if it's supposed to be something that the astronaut can take off and bring with him to do some kind of measurements, or if it's just meant to be sitting up here as some kind of flashlight or something like that. Whatever it is a pretty neat little detail, and this piece is pretty cool. And on we go to the minifigure. This one has a very cool look, I think. Up top there is this very classic helmet with a wonderful neon green visor and a very cool face print, eyebrows, and some kind of headband up here. I don't know if this is some kind of cybernetic implant or if it's just a headband of some sort. And a very cool torso print right here with some very nice technical looking print right here with some kind of air hoses or something. And it almost looks like this could be some sort of armor as well, as it looks very, very sturdy indeed with these two nails or bolts or whatever it is right here. And some two colored pants with a hip that's red and some black legs. And on the back there's of course some classic air tanks that we got in most astronauts in the 90s. There's no back printing on the torso, as was also usual in the 90s, and no alternate face print either. And there's a detail I really like about the face print, and that is that the hair that's been printed on the face fits very well with the opening of the helmet. So it looks like he has a full head of hair, and it's just a couple of tufts that's sticking down inside the helmet, which is pretty neat, I think. In many ways, I think a set like this embodies the essence of space sets from the 1990s. There's a great use of color that really makes the Spyrius faction stand out. And using a dark blue canopy like this is a great way to differentiate this from, let's say, M-tron or Blacktron and other factions like that. And the focus on the dark transparent blue and the black does underline the fact that this is a spy organization. The dark blue and black acts as a sort of camouflage for outer space, so these small vehicles can speed in, steal technology, and get out in a hurry. That was the 6835 Saucer Scout, which is a set I like a lot. Of course, my nostalgia really taints my opinion of a set like this, so maybe it's not as objectively interesting as I think it is, but I do like it a lot. What I do think is very interesting about sets and themes like the Spyrius theme is that it encapsulates what I think is very, very important about science fiction space themes and science fiction Lego. I like that this sort of goes beyond grays and whites and blacks, which would be more realistic maybe, but this uses more interesting colors and is a little more sort of science fiction fantasy, just going wild in the colors and all that kind of thing. I like that, and I'd love to see that in a modern day theme. Something that's maybe a little more classic space-esque would be cool. So if anyone from Lego is hearing this, please bring back some kind of science fiction Lego like this. That would be awesome. But that's all for me today. I hope you'll comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next Monday.